Tuesday, March 4th. Welcome back to Damon Bruce Plus. It is fantastic to have you here today. Like and subscribe. Get that algorithm pushing this show out to all the good people on YouTube. And I'd appreciate that very much. Any way you support the show means a lot by patronizing our sponsors, by hitting like and subscribe, by becoming a member, which we now have San Bruno Mike, a member for 14 months. He's like 11 a.m. meetings are killing me at work right now. Totally blows. Have a great show. I'll catch it later. And that's the beauty of YouTube. Anything you miss while it's happening live, you come on back and you get it whenever it's convenient to you. Getting help to replace Deebo Samuel that is convenient to the 49ers is where we're beginning this broadcast today, this live stream. And let me tell you, Tim Kawakami, I'm sure, generated an awful lot of eye rolls from 49ers fans when he said that he believes that Terique Owens can help fill the void of Deebo Samuel's trade as the 49ers are looking to put together a wide receiving core going into next season, knowing that Brandon Ayuk isn't going to be involved for, the vast majority of it coming off of his week 7 ACL tear. So what are the 49ers going to do at wide receiver? Obviously, they can address it in the draft. It's going to be harder to even address in free agency because it's going to get expensive to get in a real good player. So what do you got? What do you got in-house? Well, one of the pieces that they have in-house is undrafted Terique Owens. And Tim Kawakami is reporting that they see him as someone who's going to get a chance for snaps next season, which is great. Which brings me back to the last 3 weeks of last season and how come we didn't see him? How come you don't know a little bit more about Terique Owens than you hope to know? He should have already gotten in an NFL game snaps. In a year that was lost in a couple of let's start planning for the future weeks, Kyle Shanahan didn't do that. This was probably best illustrated in the lack of playing Tanner Mordecai. You could have found out a little something about Tanner Mordecai. Can he really be a guy who could trust to back up Brock Purdy? Well, had he played at all at the end of last season, you might know. I mean, those were throwaway games against the Dolphins, Lions, and Cardinals last year. And instead of using them valuably, Shanahan just kind of twiddled his thumbs. I mean, it was really disappointing. The way that last season ended sucked. Everything about last season basically kind of sucked. But to come on back to Terique Owens, you know what? You better do a whole lot more than that. That alone isn't going to get you through an NFL season. But am I interested in what Terique Owens might have? The answer is yes. Yes, I am. I absolutely am. He's 6'3". He's 190 pounds. He played on the practice squad last year. He's only 25 years old, and his dad is a Hall of Famer. Hard to bet against guys whose fathers have had great athletic success. As a matter of fact, the teams that have done that here in the Bay Area have gotten pretty good results out of it. Now, some more extreme than the others, obviously, but there is something about fishing in the gene pool when it's the son of a former pro athlete. This is correlation. It's not causation. Just because your father was a pro doesn't mean that you will be. But boy, your odds of making it as a professional athlete increase dramatically than if you just threw a rock on the street and said, what are the chances that whoever that rock hits could be a professional athlete one day, or their progeny, their children could be professional athletes? Sure, it could happen, but there's something about your dad playing in a league, especially at the highest possible level, like Hall of Famers do. It means something. It absolutely means something. So before you roll your eyes at Terique Owens, let's just talk a little bit about how betting on the sons of former athletes have actually worked out pretty well here in the Bay Area. You don't have to look very far to see the prime example. Steph Curry's dad was a pro. At least that's what I've heard. I heard Steph Curry's got a brother who's in the NBA too. Is that true? Must be something in that gene pool. There was a guy who used to play baseball around here, Barry Bonds. I heard that his dad was also a major leaguer. We are talking not about just two of the best players in the history of Bay Area sports. We're talking about two of the greatest players in the history of their sport. Barry Bonds, one of the 5 greatest baseball players of all time, and Steph Curry is in the conversation of one of the 10 greatest NBA players of all time. I mean, he really is. These are gene pools that we're worthy of betting on. The single biggest free agent I have ever seen added to the 49ers with my own 2 eyes, his name was Christian McCaffrey. Well, Christian McCaffrey's dad, Ed, won 3 Super Bowls. Maybe there's a little something there. A reason to invest, a reason to not give up early if the early returns aren't exactly what you expect. I mean, Terique Owens did not get into professional sports or highly competitive sports until a little bit later on in his young adulthood. He went to Missouri State, which means, you weren't trying hard to be a football player. Now he is. Is there anything there? Maybe. Considering what his dad did, I'm not going to give up on him until I actually see him. Have you heard of this guy named Klay Thompson? I heard Klay Thompson's dad played in the NBA. I heard he was a Laker. Not nearly as impactful as, Klay or Steph. Look at guys on the Warriors right now. They're just role players. You don't get to the mitten without going through the glove. Without Gary Payton, you don't get Gary Payton III. Without Dale Davis, you don't get to Trace Jackson Davis, who I know is going through a little bit of a struggle right now, but he's got some dad played for the Pacers advice to lean into in his life. It sets you up for not being blown away by the extreme close-up that is professional sports. You saw your dad go through it. You grew up in NBA gyms, you grew up on NFL practice fields, means you're going to be more comfortable than the guy who gets drafted and the first time he's ever stepped on an NFL practice field is his first NFL practice. Again, I'm sure Christian McCaffrey lost more toys at the Denver Broncos facility than he did in his own home. When you grow up around this stuff, I think it matters. I think it imprints upon you. Go ahead and watch college basketball these days. The sons of players that you rooted for are all over these teams. Seriously, they're all over them. Jace Richardson, son of Jason Richardson, is playing college basketball right now. Andre Stojakovic, Page's kid. Stephen Marbury II, you know who his dad is. Ryan Mutombo, the son of Dikembe Mutombo. Jamal Mashburn Jr., you all know who Jamal Mashburn Sr. is. Scottie Pippen, his son Justin Pippen is playing college basketball. Jace Howard, the son of Juwan Howard, is playing college. I mean, it's all over the place. One of the cooler things I was able to do was become really friendly with Eric Burns. Yeah, Eric Burns was a pretty good baseball player. Eric Burns is a guy who, you didn't have to ask, is that guy going to be a good dad? Yeah, of course Eric Burns is going to be a good dad. He's just a fun-loving guy. So because I follow, we're friends on Facebook and whatnot, I see Eric Burns. He is grooming his son to be a professional athlete without even trying, without any, I don't mean any negative aspect, but his kid right now will step into a batting cage at the age of 12 and put on a laser show that you wouldn't believe. This kid has a major league father who is already talking about the technique of hitting, the art of pitch selection and all this. I mean, there is such an advantage you got going home every day and hitting a few buckets of balls in the cage with a dad who is a former major leaguer than the next kid. LeBron James right now is probably running the grandest example of, if this kid were anybody else, we wouldn't be interested, but he is LeBron's kid. So, was there absolutely an element of appeasing what LeBron wanted when the Lakers drafted Bronny? Yes. But you know what? Bronny was going to be signed to some sort of professional basketball contract. How could you not bet on that based on who his dad is? The early returns aren't great, But when you're betting on a gene pool, you're thinking it's somewhere in there, and through the right coaching, through the right development, it could be extracted. To what degree, we do not know. But that's a cave worth mining. Son of a former professional, you got to be interested in that. Anyone else notice that Kyle Shanahan's daddy used to be a coach? You know, I mean, come on. There are sons of former pros, coaches all over, and then there is an element of nepotism that sports helps you get through quickly, because nepotism might get you the job, but only results keep the job in sports, unless you're Jerry Jones's kid, in which case you can be a total screw-up. I guess this brings me to Shedeur Sanders, because yesterday across the internet, across the Twitters, we're seeing stories that Shedeur Sanders came across as arrogant in a few of his meetings, and it didn't go well. And now the negative campaign against Shedeur Sanders has begun. Look, I think Shedeur Sanders has a chance to be a pretty good NFL player. I like Cam Ward more. I'll tell you right now, if I ever evaluated Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders and I walked away from the evaluation going tie ball game, I think that the tie that would go to the runner is, well, one of these kids' dad is in the Hall of Fame, and I don't even know who the other guy's dad is. Like, I'm going to bet on the son of Deion Sanders if I'm a football team. And I'll tell you, Deion Sanders might be in his kid's ear to come off as super arrogant in some of these meetings, so his kid won't get drafted into a bad situation. Deion knows how to play the game better than anybody. So, of course, his kid comes in with a degree of confidence and arrogance that you might not find in other athletes. And, to me, this isn't a bad thing at all. What are you telling me, that one of the cockiest athletes of my lifetime, his son, is a little cocky? Duh. Of course he is. By the way, sip of the day right there. Michael Chan says, hey, man, Jay Gruden was a great quarterback in the Arena Football League. Runs in the family. Runs in the family. Look at the Boone family in baseball. Look at the Bosa family in the NFL. Look at the what we got, Ball. I thought we got Ball. We got look at the Ball family. Say whatever you want about LeVar Ball. He said his kids were going to be in the league. He's right. There is something to genealogy, to lineage, that absolutely matters. So this brings us back to Terique Owens. And while everybody rolls their eyes at a practice squad player who's never taken a snap in a real game being already mentioned as a possible solution for the absence of Deebo Samuel, I understand why people out there are saying, come on, man, you got to do better than that. And they need to do more than that for sure. But you might have a lottery ticket right there. It's certainly worth scratching off the protective layer to see if you got a lottery ticket. Of course they're interested in Terique Owens. Why wouldn't they be? There are just way too many examples in sports of the kid of someone who was great at least being decent. So I want you to know I'm on team Terique Owens. We should know more about him right now than we already do. He should have already gotten NFL reps, but the 49ers just wanted to make sure all of last season was a waste of time, and they wasted precious time at the end of it too. The 49ers wide receiver situation, it's a little tenuous. There's no doubt about it. Kyle's Posey of Niners Nation says, just sums it up right here. Juwan Jennings' contract voids after this upcoming regular season. Star wide receiver Brandon Ayuk is obviously damaged goods as it is right now. Chris Conley will be a free agent, leaving Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowing as the only healthy and under contract wide receivers this team has after this upcoming season. Aaron Wilson reported that the 49ers had a formal meeting with Texas wide receiver Isaiah Bond at the NFL Combine. And again, we learned earlier, it's not causation, but there is correlation between who the 49ers interview and who they actually go about drafting. Well, they've interviewed Texas Longhorn, Isaiah Bond, who, it's funny, this is a prime example of don't let your mouth write checks that your body can't cash. Isaiah Bond went to the combine and he told anyone who would listen that he was going to break Xavier Worthy's combine 40-time record. And he didn't. Now, he still ran faster than 98% of anyone else who ran at the NFL combine. The kid ran a 4.39, which is by any definition flying. But he told everybody he was going to run a 4.1. Again, don't set expectations and then not meet them, because it'll be seen as, if had Isaiah Bond just gone to the combine and run a 4.39, 4.38, everyone would have been like, holy shit, he's fast. But you told everyone you were going to run a 4.1, a sub 4.2, and you didn't. So now people are saying he's not as fast as he thinks he is, when he is in any way, shape, and form a qualified for the definition of fast human being. Again, set expectations, keep expectations low, overachieve low expectations. Can't go wrong with that formula in life. You really, really can't. Let me set some expectations high, though, for you right now when it comes to what you're doing for lunch today. Because that guy right there just popped up as a graphic with his little bald head. He's got a delicious sandwich just waiting for you. My man Ike makes them all up and down the West Coast. He is expanding ever eastward to the point where there is now an Ike's in New Orleans, and he's so excited about that. And it is Mardi Gras time of the year. Ike wants you to know that you can get a free bag of Zap chips. They're from New Orleans with every order between now and March 6th. So you got a couple days. Use promo code CARNIVAL either online or in person to redeem a bag of Zapp's potato chips when you order your Ike's. That's when you're doing it for yourself. If you want to order Ike's for your office, check out Ike's Catering. Everyone in your office will be very, very happy that you did. And then, you want to take everybody in the office out for a little happy hour. Check out Dubliner West Portal. Love the guys, Dubliner West Portal. Great place to go watch Warriors games. Great place to go get ready for the NFL draft. They'll have it on, but it's not an obnoxious sports bar. There'll be some good music on. That won't be too loud. You're going to be able to have a conversation with a friend of yours. You're going to be able to watch some Giants games. It's a sports bar, neighborhood bar, Irish bar, perfect bar, all rolled up into one. Get to the Dubliner West Portal. And again, when you get to Ike's, use promo code CARNIVAL between now and March 6th for a free bag of Zapp's chips. Go with God. Eat at Ike's. The gene pool of Ike sandwiches means one after the other. It's delicious. It's delicious. Bet on that gene pool. Let me tell you, I'm watching my kid go out and play, flag football. And if there's one thing I already know about Jack, if he decides to play football throughout his life, he's going to be much better at tackle football than he's going to be at flag football, because coming out of the Damon Bruce gene pool means you ain't ever going to be regarded as fast, kid. Bruce's ain't fast. We're fast in our minds. We're fast thinkers. We're fast talkers, fast movers. Going to need a car for that. My kid out there is getting dusted by girls playing flag football. They're just running right past him. He's not quick. Until the line of scrimmage or physically tackling somebody comes into play, Jack's not going to have much use on a football field for him. There is really not. Now, Ozzy, when he gets a little bit older, the 3-year-old, there's an athlete in there. There's definitely an athlete in there. He's got a little bit more of his mom's genes, I think, in his calves than I do. Than Jack has Jack's got my calves. Ozzy's got his mother's calves. So he might actually be able to move a little bit faster than Jack. Some physicality, some brute strength's going to need to come into play for Jack to have any use on a football field. Right now, he's just getting dusted. But he's having fun. That's all that's important. By the way, the reading in Jack's class yesterday went smashingly. Crushed it. They want me back in there in that kindergarten class. I nailed the audition. SG Sports Talk. Big fan of you and your channel. It absolutely rocks. Thank you so very, very much. Everyone, if you were waiting for Kenny to get here, you can relax. He's here now. That's good. That's good. It's great to have everyone here. Again, like and subscribe. DVD says, Damon, what's wrong with your calves? I just, they're fine. They work just fine. Well, the left one, since the stroke, doesn't pop nearly like the right one. Anyways, it doesn't matter. My wife doesn't have calves. Those are cows. She's got thick. She's just, my wife has got incredibly muscular legs. I've got dad legs. Again, there was no point in time. At no point in time. At any point in time on a field of play, did anyone ever point at me and go, he's fast? They might have said he's strong. They might have said he's tough. They might have said he's rough. They might have said, well, he's just dumb enough to stick his helmet in the middle of anything and hit you. That's what I did. I wanted to just go out there and hit the shit out of people. At what speed I did it, I didn't care. This is why I was offensive line, defensive line. This is why I was crease defense on a lacrosse field. This is why on a basketball court, the only thing I could ever do was rebound and set moving screens. That's it. Just use size and power. Speed, not part of the D. Bruce game. And it's not part of my son's game either right now. Who knows? Maybe he grows into it. Eat enough apples, turn into a professional athlete. Not betting on it. I'll just say that much. Let's talk a little Warriors. Because after really pissing me off in Philadelphia over the weekend, losing a game that good teams just don't afford to lose right now at this point in time of the year. You can't go losing to teams that are shutting down their best player. But, Jimmy Butler wasn't on the court in that game. He returned to the court, played last night in Charlotte, and the Warriors got a handled their business 18-point win over the Hornets last night. Now that sets up what's going to happen tonight at Madison Square Garden. It's a good thing that Jimmy Butler is back in the room. Jimmy hasn't even been very good on the court lately, but he just changes things. There is an intangible, this team is better when Jimmy's on the court. There's just no doubt about it. The Warriors are 8-2 since the Butler trade, 8-1 in games that he's actually played. So they're having success with him. And he just takes pressure off Steph Curry. Steph Curry doesn't have to work nearly as hard to score efficiently. Thought this was pretty interesting. Colin Cowherd had a very interesting stat this morning. Since Jimmy Butler was traded for, Steph Curry is averaging one more shot per game, but 7 more points. In other words, Curry has become more efficient with Jimmy Butler out there helping him. Beyond that, just the guys changing the thermostat in the room. Jimmy Butler, since being acquired by the Warriors have the best turnover differential. They're first in the league. They're first in assists and first in free throw percentage. All 3 of those categories were categories that used to give the Warriors headaches. So that is Jimmy Butler. And they're going to need that Butler effect tonight because it's the Knicks. And again, Jimmy doesn't even have to be a great scorer, but just being on the court stabilizes things. The night that Steph had his season-high 56, Jimmy Butler had 5 points. Now, he doesn't need to turn into one of those, Draymond Green, I'm out here really helping, but I'm not scoring. Jimmy Butler has not shot well at all from 3. It's really not his game, but he's got to be better than 15%, 11%, wherever he is right now. Hopefully that goes up a little bit, and I want to see him get more aggressive, getting in that line again. That's where Jimmy's paying off for this team. It's the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks are 40-20 on the season. They've won 3 in a row. They're great in close games, and that's because Jalen Brunson is a killer, getting 26 and 7 a night. Karl Anthony Towns is always a matchup nightmare for whoever is playing against him. 4:30 tip from Madison Square Garden. The game's going to be on TNT tonight, and this is the game of the road trip. This is the game that is either going to turn this road trip to a 3-2 road trip or a 4-1 road trip. And yes, I am assuming that they beat Brooklyn on Thursday. They beat the Knicks tonight. This can be a great road trip. And again, it's too bad they tripped over themselves playing the hapless, sucking Philadelphia 76ers. Seriously, keep an eye on Jalen Brunson if this is a close game. I follow this guy on Twitter named Tommy Beer, who is a big New York Knicks fan. He writes a Knick fan Substack. So obviously, you got to take anything he says about the Knicks in terms of compliments with a grain of salt. He's a homer. That's fine. But these are statistics, and statistics, these aren't the Knicks statistics because Tommy Beer is a Knicks fan. They're the statistics because they're the stats, and they're pretty impressive. The Knicks are a perfect 10-0 in their last 10 games they've played, which have been decided by 5 points or less. Now, the Warriors, I think, lead the NBA team in clutch opportunities because they're always in tight games at the end. You don't want to be in a tight game with the Knicks because they win. In the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter or overtime in those past 10 contests, they're 10-0. Jalen Brunson has scored 77 points on 44 attempts, shooting nearly 60% from the floor, nearly 60% from three, nearly 90% from the free throw line. He is the most clutch player basically in basketball. Like De'Aaron Fox was wearing that crown or was pretending to wear that crown for a little while with the Kings. He got traded. He's not a King anymore, but he was, De'Aaron Fox, whatever he wasn't, he was this in clutch. Jalen Brunson's pretty damn good in the game. And when he gets to clutch time, he's Michael Jordan. He's been unbelievable. So clutch minutes, keep an eye on Brunson. That's not the game you want to be in with the Knicks tonight. And if you are, good luck. Big one tonight for the Warriors. It really is. Also from the NBA, man, the Dallas Mavericks are just crashing and burning as hard as any franchises have ever seen. And it's not just in a season. This is a franchise crash and burn that almost feels, it's like John Fisher level intentional. It's one thing to have a bad season of crops. It's another thing to salt the earth behind the bad season of crops, making sure that nothing can grow here ever again. Nico Harrison not only ruined the basketball team, ruined the basketball season, ruined the love of basketball fans, but he's basically ruined the relationship the team now has with the city and vice versa. There is no measurement that can accurately show the damage that the Luka Doncic trade has done in the city of Dallas. It turned off a generation of kids from ever. Luka Doncic was your favorite basketball player. You wake up one morning, he's gone. When you're 8 years old, that can sting you for the rest of your life. Well, why is he gone, Dad? Did he get old? Because I could understand that. Did he get bad? I could understand that. No, we traded a 25-year-old living legend in real time for a pretty good Anthony Davis at the end of his career, and the sprinkle on top of that is he's also always hurt, which immediately happened. Luka gone, Davis shows up, gets hurt, gets shut down now for weeks at a time, and last night, the last remaining reason to even think maybe I should watch the Mavericks tonight, tore his ACL. Kyrie Irving is done for the year. You tear your ACL this late in the year, it means you're done for most of next year too. So, by the way, Kyrie didn't tear his ACL because of workload. He ran into a big man last night playing basketball, and that's what happened. It was an on-the-court accident. It wasn't overuse, but he had been playing about 40 minutes a night since the Doncic trade went down. So, yeah, I guess that's a modern NBA overuse. Again, causation, correlation, it's all coming into play again. Kyrie had been playing some of the best basketball of his career. He's the only NBA player this season averaging at least 20 points on 40% three-point shooting, going 90% from the free throw line as well. This is some of the best basketball that Kyrie has played since he was hitting NBA Finals winning threes against the Golden State Warriors back when he was a Cleveland Cavalier, back before he became difficult Kyrie. All hope has been abandoned in Dallas. All love of the team has been so thoroughly stomped out with a generation of basketball fans. Again, the damage that Nico Harrison has done is immeasurable. It's so intentionally damaging and negligent. One must think, well, that's the point. It's like John Fisher and the Oakland A's. You can't be that bad as an owner unless you're trying to do something subversive, like get your team moving out of a major market to go to a smaller market because that's where you want it. And maybe that's what's happening with the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Metroplex area is one of the biggest media markets there is. Las Vegas, one of the smallest there is. I think they'd rather be the Las Vegas Mavericks. And there is an intentional break in civic trust that's going on between the relationship, between the ownership and the city. Damon, now I'm sad. You brought up the A's. I'm sorry, Zoff Miss. I didn't want to do it. Yeah. You bring on bad energy with that trade. There is something about karma, juju. Kids call it vibes, right? I don't know where this came from, but Chef A's talking about chicken piccata. Now I want freaking chicken piccata. Again, great food done simply. Doesn't get any better than that. What else we got going on? A little news that Jimmie Johnson is retiring from Fox Sports. Okay. I got to tell you, I never thought Jimmie Johnson was a bad analyst. He didn't really say very much, but not being too much of a douche is something that I thought he was good at. What I hope is that Jimmie Johnson can take Terry Bradshaw with him. Terry Bradshaw does not need to be a broadcaster anymore. He stopped contributing anything to the conversation over a decade ago. He's never been interesting. He's never been funny. I know he was a Steeler. He's got to go. Can Jimmy please take Terry with him? Can we get some of these pregame shows with enough people that have something to say? You don't have to put 13 other people around them. Whenever you turn on a pregame show and there you see a 7-person desk, that is the pregame show telling you visually, we got nothing. We got absolutely nothing to discuss. It is going to be little scoops of bullshit from recognizable people who will be told to say dumb shit and throw and toss to some Rob Riggle pre-recorded, equally unfunny pregame bit. I don't understand. It's like, how can we have the internet, yet the entire world is getting dumber? How can the NFL have any element of the entertainment industry at their disposal, but not a single pre or post game show is worth the paper it's written on? It's stunning. It's stunning how bad pre and post game remains across the board in football when its resources go to infinity in every single direction. And by the way, infinity resources doesn't mean, yeah, there should be 15 guys sitting on your set today. That's not what infinity resources means. Again, I should be running networks. You would be a so much better informed, smarter, intelligent, more satisfied sports fan if they would just give control of the entire operation to me. Damon, that's how a dictator sounds. Yeah, I should be a sports dictator. Mostly benevolent dictator. And let me tell you what I would do if voted sports dictator. I would make sure that the story that I'm about to share with you never happens again. I teased this yesterday. Didn't have time to get to it. I've got the worst sports story. And if it's not the worst sports story, because that suggests like something awful happened. I wouldn't say this is something awful happening to anybody, but this is the dumbest sports story. And how does this sports story even exist in 2025? This is a story that you probably haven't even heard about, read about, care about, or have thought about, but I want to share it with you. South Carolina's women's basketball team is a really good women's basketball team. Dawn Staley, she's really good at what she does. South Carolina women's basketball team earned a share of the SEC title and then got a 1 seed in the upcoming SEC women's basketball tournament based on a coin flip. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey flipped the coin from Birmingham, Alabama during halftime of an LSU game against Mississippi to determine the top seed. The flip was broadcast live on SEC Network. There was a loud cheer that could be heard from the South Carolina locker room immediately afterwards. And I'm sure, zooming in on that coin made for a good slice of TV. But how and why are we doing it this way in 2025? How are you using an inanimate object to determine who a 1 seed of a tournament could be when we have a million different piles of stats to pull from to break ties? I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. With all the metrics, with all the measurements, with all the stats, with all the attention that we pay to sports, we're letting a coin determine who's going to be a 1 seed? How's that even possible? Why don't you go to aggregate score in conference games? Since this is about conference tournament seeding, probably makes a little bit more sense than doing the aggregate score of non-conference games. Maybe not everybody played the same amount of non-conference games, or certainly shared a strength of schedule in their non-conference schedule. So that would be a stupid way to do it, but it's still a better way to do it than a coin, because at least it's something that the women earned or didn't earn, or the team earned or didn't earn. You can't earn the results of a coin flip. You just get stuck with it. Like, how stupid is that? Seriously. Now, Joe Schmo is right. Coin flip is huge TV. Yeah, I'm guessing it's got that moment of drama. And, ooh, is it heads or tails? But I just think it's so stupid. It is so stupid. Joe's taking it even further. He's like, they still have coins. How stupid is that? Yeah, I don't know how the penny's holding on. I really don't know. But anyways, why not let the 1 seed go to the team that turned the ball over the fewer times? Why not let the 1 seed, just do something that the kids in the locker room have actually earned or done? To me, there'd be more dignity if you gave the 1 seed to the women's basketball team that had the biggest combined cup size. At least it's not an inanimate object. It's something that's part of you. It's something that's who you are. Could you imagine that if they went to cup side instead of the coin? Oh my God, there'd be fucking pitchforks. It'd still be better than the coin. It would be. Using coins to determine shit in 2025. What are we all high? Were you just lazy? Are we that uncreative? Go to fucking rebounds. Which team had the most rebounds? Which team is the tallest? Anything would be better than just a coin. And when I am elevated to America's sports dictator czar, I'm going to eliminate this coin flip shit, and we're just going to find something else that can be measured in the season. Since we're measuring everything that could possibly happen, let's use the results of this measurement other than a coin. There you go. Just a little idea from Uncle Damon to everybody. Red Jet. She's like, coins over cup sizes? How blasphemous. Exactly. Come on. What are we doing? What are we doing? Measure the circumference of their heads. Whichever team has the largest combined head, that's your 1 seed. There you go. There you go. How about you take whatever team flew the most miles flying from game to game? Frequent flyers, become one seeds easier than teams that don't, because they had to travel further. So that's their handicap. I don't like anything would be better than an inanimate object. Anything. All right. So there you go. There is my rant that you probably didn't even want or need, but I feel strongly about it. All right, here we go. Today in history. Are you ready for a little history lesson today? Happy birthday to Landon Donovan, born today. He is 43 years old. Happy birthday, Landon Donovan. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like soccer. I don't know much about soccer, but I recognize your name, so you must have been good at soccer. Congratulations, Landon Donovan. Today, in 1519, Cortez arrived in Mexico in search of the Aztec civilization and its wealth. And no bad was done to any indigenous people upon Cortez's arrival through the Gulf of America. The fucking world we're living in. Today in 1888, Knute Rockne was born. He'd become America's first celebrity coach. Obviously, at Notre Dame, we all know the footage of Knute Rockne saying, we're going to get him and we're going to hit him. That footage was taken at the Rose Bowl, by the way. When I went to the Rose Bowl this year, I got to stand in the old locker room for that Knute Rockne famous speech that Rudy gives in Rudy. Knute Rockne was born in Voss, Norway. Is that why water that they sell you for way too much money at clubs is Voss water? Because the waters of Voss, Norway are so pristine and clear. Is that where Voss comes from? Did I just learn something while trying to teach you something? Anyways, happy birthday to Knute Rockne, who would have been 127 years old today if he were still with us. Let's see. No, wait, 1880. Well, let me I got to do the math on that again. Yeah, 137 years old, not 120. I knew that. I knew something looked wrong there. Either way, he's dead. Let's move on. Boy, this was very controversial when John Lennon said today in 1966 that Christianity will go, it will vanish and shrink. The Beatles are more popular than Jesus. Oh my God, it was, the biggest pearl-clutching moment any pop culture entity had created in America since Elvis started wiggling his hips. Oh my God, did John Lennon just say the Beatles were bigger than Jesus? Not really, but that's the way the morons interpreted it and ran with it. And guess what? Today, as we look around, if you had to ask me, what's bigger right now, Christianity or the Beatles? I would say we're going to have to actually measure that and find out. Beatles are still pretty big. More important than the Beatles, more important than maybe even religion. Today, in 1982, it only lasted 6 episodes, but Police Squad debuted on ABC. Now, it wasn't a very important TV show, but without that TV show debuting today in 1982, we never get to the Naked Gun films. And the Naked Gun films are some of the funniest movies, I think, of all time. It's hard to follow a slapstick movie with another slapstick movie and still have it good. Naked Gun 2 is still pretty damn good. By the time you get to 3, it's tailing off a little bit. But Naked Gun 1 and Naked Gun 2 are great. They really are. And we don't get to Naked Gun without Police Squad, which debuted today in 1982. Speaking of what did you watch when you were a kid, I'm about to date myself right here. I used to love, and this is the closest I ever got to liking anime, Robotech. Do you remember the old cartoon Robotech? Robotech debuted today in 1985. Robotech was the first mech thing that sort of happened. I remember being fascinated by it as a little kid. I loved Robotech. As we've always said, we are now detecting what is it, day of what? National what day? Well, today is National Obesity Day, where we celebrate the fat. Oh, no, wait. It's probably about reeling in some obesity, I'm guessing. That's not the way I'm interpreting it. National Obesity Day. Congratulations to all you fat fucks out there. I mean, I absolutely, walk on the balance beam of overweight, fat, obese. I've never qualified for morbidly obese. 20 pounds overweight? Yeah, every day of my life, at least. Sure. By the way, if that's what officially makes you morbidly obese, then yes, I've been morbidly obese since I've been 5. But yeah, I've always been about 20 pounds heavier than the normal of my size, age, whatever. So there you go. World Obesity Day. I'm sure it's about awareness or something. But it's funny that World Obesity Day coincides directly with what today also is National Snack Day. So maybe, to really celebrate World Obesity Day, you should just be pounding snacks all day. My go-to, can't have them in the house. Please get them away from me because I can't stop eating them. It is part of my kryptonite, are gummies, gummy bears, gummy worms. I would say that Starbucks is more Starburst is more waxy than it is gummy. I love the wax. I love a Starburst. I like Skittles. I'm not a big chocolate guy, not a big cake guy. I'm a savory, sweet kind of guy. I like Starbursts, gummy bears. Can't keep them in the house around me. My fat ass will find them and eat them in all hours you shouldn't be eating. And again, this is why I celebrate World Obesity Day. It's also National Grammar Day. So instead of saying it's, you're fat, tell someone you are rotund, robust. You're a behemoth. Use that grammar to talk about how fat your very good friends and loved ones might be on this World Obesity Day. So to everyone out there, just a little thick in the hips. Happy day to you. I hope you have a great day. Even if you're in shape and skinny, I hope you have a great day too. But again, pull your own weight here by enjoying National Snack Day as well. And that's all we got. That's a pretty damn good show today on a day where there isn't much going on, right? Is today Fat Tuesday? National Obesity Day, Fat Tuesday? Pretty genius. It is Fat Tuesday, which means Mardi Gras officially begins. Which means we should probably grab this bottle of whiskey right here and do one of these. Yeah. I'm not going to a kindergarten to read to kindergartners today, so I can do a little sip at the end of the show. Yeah, New Orleans is going to be nuts. New Orleans will be nuts tonight. Indeed. SG, I agree with this. Salty sweet, it's great. By the way, I got when you see the synapses, you can see somebody's mind being blown in real time. We were having bowls of vanilla ice cream, just plain vanilla ice cream, me and the boys the other night. And we didn't have any whipped cream or cherries or really anything to put on it. There was just a bowl of vanilla ice cream. And God bless Jack. He's a little bit disappointed in that. So he's like, no. And I said, watch. And I put a little flaky sea salt on the vanilla ice cream. I think that was his first official, salty sweet mind being blown away. He loved it. So now I got a kid upstairs. Well, he's not upstairs right now, but I got a kid upstairs just looking to pinch a little salt on anything. He loves the flake salt now. He's all about it. He wants to put it on everything. Again, teach the children. Oh, hold on. We got ourselves Iceman 0072, Leslie Nielsen, Pride of Regina. I loved Robotech. Combined Transformers, Top Gun with the love triangle mixed in. Also showed people dying. That's the thing. Yes. That's a great way to describe it, by the way, Iceman. It was like Transformers and Top Gun put together with a little G.I. Joe, with a little like love story mixed in, with a little society reforming, robots, AI sort of mixed in. I like the Robotech that was about like there was the mechs, right? There was and then they had the one about the bikes, the Robotech bikes, the motorcycles, and then they had the Robotech jets and the huge aircraft carrier that when it came down on Earth, like it landed in a water and it became like a city unto itself. Maybe I'm combining Robotech memories here, but I used to love Robotech. Freaking love that shit. I wonder how it stands up. Like, I wonder if I watched any of it as an adult, if I'd be like, I was a stupid little kid. By the way, you want the ultimate, this show doesn't stand the test of time? I dare you to sit through an entire A-Team. If you can, God bless you. It used to be my favorite show. It's impossible to even sit through now. It's so bad. Same thing to be said with Dukes of Hazzard. Like, forget about all the, that is insulting racial imagery of the General Lee and the stars and bars and the Confederate flag. Like, that's the least offensive thing about the Dukes of Hazzard. That was a terribly written, terribly acted, terribly performed show. Just try to sit through a Dukes of Hazzard. Good luck to you. Yeah, little olive oil and an ice cream with a coat. Yes. But it can't just be like, Safeway olive oil. You got to have some good olive oil right there. That changes the mouth chemistry, changes the feel in the mouth of the ice cream. That little oil, it's very nice. I don't know if my kids are ready to pick up that level of subtlety yet, but we'll see. We'll see. Hey, thank you very much for the supers. Thank you for taking care of my man, Ike of Ike's Sandwiches. Go get yourself an Ike sandwich today. You'll be very happy that you did. Go and please check out Ike's Catering if you're ordering for your office, your business. Every army marches on its stomach, and your business stomachs will be very happy once Ike's comes through with a big box of sandwiches. So check that out. Check out the Dublin Air West portal. Thanks for checking out with us today. Before you check out of YouTube, please hit like and subscribe on your way out, if you would, please. And I thank you so much for being a part of this today. Please do remember that sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, he's gone.